Gen Z is easily the softest generation, and this story is proof. Put on your cringe goggles and let's just jump right in.
And we're crying, 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 like a wounded animal.
So we're going to call the subscriber who submitted this story Kevin. So anyways, right, there was this thing in Kevin's class called the push-up test in gym class, right? So basically what would happen is the beginning of the year, you would do as many push-ups as you possibly can. And then at the end of the year, you'd be tested to see how many push-ups you can do by the end of the year. And the whole idea behind it is that basically you'd be able to do more push-ups in the beginning, or you'd be able to do less push-ups in the beginning. And because of all your work in gym class or whatever, that maybe you'd be able to do more towards the end. So it wasn't like that big of a deal. However, it was kind of a big deal at the school, since everyone during the push-up test would be a little nervous because they'd want to perform well. And sometimes people would crowd around and watch, which I can understand this, like the stress and anxiety for that. Dude, I used to have a push-up test in middle school, and like people would always like look around and watch, and they'd be so nosy. They'd be like, "How many push-ups did you get?" I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, bro. I'm a little skeleton, bro. Like definitely in middle school, I was built like those Minecraft skeletons, so I was not repping out 100,000 push-ups. I'll just tell you that. Push-ups are a pretty good exercise to know how to do. And if you can't do any, there's definitely no shame to it. But I would definitely suggest trying to figure out how to do one. If you got to go on your knees, that's totally cool. It's good for you. But at the end of the day, as long as you don't have to like push-ups, but as long as you don't act like the Gen Z kid in this video, then we're chilling. So anyways, the first push-up test in the very beginning of the year already happened. And it was towards the end of the year, and that means that the second push-up test, aka the final push-up test, was coming along, right? So anyways, Kevin, the subscriber, and his friends were just kind of chilling one day. They were just hanging out, and it was like the day before the push-up test. So they must have been saying something about it, because Kevin and his friend group were kind of a little bit competitive about it. It's not as if they really liked the push-up test, but they were like, "Oh, I can do more than you. Oh, you can do 2? Well, dude, I can do at least 50% more than you. I can do 3. Oh my God," right? So yeah, they were kind of talking about it, and that's when the Gen Z kid comes up to them. He's like, "Don't be part of the system. Protest the push-up test with me." And Kevin looks at this kid and is like, "Dude, like what? Like, why are you protesting the push-up test, dude? Like, why?" He's like, "Well, the push-up test is discriminatory, so we're going to protest it, and it won't happen." So here's the thing, dude. I could totally understand, and I would probably stand with the Gen Z kid if people with legitimate reasons why they couldn't be doing the push-up test were forced into doing the push-up test. Like if the gym teacher like pointed out some kid who's in a wheelchair and is like, get your lazy butt out of your wheelchair and start doing push-ups, 10 right now. Look, okay, I would totally understand why that is a problem. However, Kevin asked, "Oh, how's the push-up test discriminatory?" And he's like, "It's discriminatory because I don't like it and it's discriminating against my preferences." And Kevin's like, "Dude, what are you saying right now?" And Kevin goes on to say, "Well, dude, I don't really like doing math. Like, I don't like taking my math exam. It's against my preferences, I guess. It's not in line with my preferences, but bro, like that's just a math exam. Like I know I need to take, like I don't have to do everything just because I don't like something doesn't mean I'm going to protest it." And at this point, the Gen Z kid's like, "So you're either with me or you're against me." And Kevin's like, "Well, I'm definitely not with you on this. And if that's my only two options, I guess I'm against protesting the push-up test just because you don't like doing push-ups." And the Gen Z kid is like, "So you're for discrimination?" And Kevin's like, "Yo, pause, don't say that, dude. What? Like, chill out, bro. Calm down." And he's like, "No, I'm not. What are you saying? No, I'm just against protesting the push-up test because you don't like to do push-ups. Like, that is such a dumb reason." And at this point, the Gen Z kid's like, "You're lucky that I'm not going to protest you as well." And the Gen Z kid says, "You guys will see." And real quick, leave a like and subscribe or you are a Gen Z kid, dude. No joke, no scam. So basically, the Gen Z kid starts running away, like runs off, storms off to go talk to other people and try and convince them they join his cause. And Kevin and his friends are basically like, there's not a shot that anyone does what this kid said. Like, there is no chance that the Gen Z kid actually is able to get people together to go and protest with them. He's not going to be able to get anyone together to protest this. And they were actually wrong. So the Gen Z kid must have gotten together enough people that just didn't want to do the push-up test wasn't fun. Like a lot of people dreaded it. So I think a lot of people were just kind of decided to go along with the kind of faulty logic, kind of like the faulty reasoning of, I don't like the push-up test because it's discriminatory against my preferences because I don't like doing it. Like, not even like, look, as I said before, if there's like legitimate people with legitimate reasons being forced into doing the push-up test, dude, I'd totally get that. I'd probably support it. I'd understand it. But they're literally just protesting the push-up test because it's doing something you don't want to do. Bro, I swear to God, the kryptonite to anyone in Gen Z, and look, I'm in Gen Z, so I'm not talking about you guys, but a lot of, at least the stereotypical Gen Z, is doing something hard that you don't want to do. At the end of the day, if you don't do things that are hard, how can you appreciate things that, like, it's important to do things that are hard. It's important to build character. If everything is easy, then what is a good thing? What is something that's easy? But anyways, right, it's not the point of the video. The point is that the next day, Kevin shows up with the boys, and they're rolling into gym class, and they see the most insane thing ever. So basically what Kevin and his friends see is they see a mob of people. So many people with signs, doing chants, and okay, so many people meaning like 15 or 20 out of like 100 people in his grade. But dude, 15 people like chanting with signs and like a full-on protest is a lot of people. Also, the fact that the Gen Z kid was able to find 14 other people that would go along with such backward logic of, oh, since I don't want to do something and you make me do it, then you're discriminating against my preferences of what I want to do. Therefore, you're discriminating. Therefore, I will protest you. Yeah, it was the most backwards, insane logic ever. So Kevin and his friends get there, and they're kind of just waiting to do the push-up test. It's not like any of them were super excited to do it, but they kind of just wanted to get it out of the way. And if anything, Kevin's like, dang, like this is kind of annoying because these people are kind of in our way. Like they're kind of being annoying right now. And so sure enough, they get there, and the people are doing a chant, like, I don't even know what the chant is, but it's something stupid. And the two physical education teachers are kind of standing there kind of far away talking with each other. And Kevin's like, there's no way that we're actually going to not do the push-up test because these people are protesting, right? So Kevin and his boys go up to talk with these people. So they go up to the crowd and they find two people, and Kevin's like, so do you like really stand by the cause here, or do you just not want to do the push-up test? And one person said, no, this is totally right. The Gen Z kid is so on point. The push-up test needs to be canceled immediately. I'm already writing a Twitter thread about it. But like one of the guys who's there is just like, dude, I don't even know what I'm doing. I just don't want to do the push-up test, man. And Kevin's like, okay, I disagree with what you're doing, but at least respect for the honesty and being straight up, because I know most of the people here will not be straight up about this with me. I know that for a fact. So yeah, the protest is continuing on. So remember, there's like 100 people that are lining up. Like, gym is pretty quick, like there isn't a lot of time. And the push-up test is like you stand in a line, it's like, all right, your name, boom, let's do it. Go down as many as you can. And kids weren't doing like 7 minutes worth of push-ups or something, so like they always were able to find enough time. And I think like they can't have 100 people in there at once, so it's probably like a third of the class goes in at this period or whatever. And they were the first period to do the push-up test. So there's like, 15, 20 other people just kind of standing there waiting around. Like the protesters were standing like in a big swarm or whatever, and the other guys were kind of just chilling on the sidelines, kind of just thinking, dude, like what am I going to do right now? Like what's even going on? So Kevin and the boys go up to the other guys. They're kind of just standing around there. They're all kind of like, Kevin's like, so what are we doing? Like, it's been 10 minutes. And everyone kind of looks over and they see the two PE teachers talking to each other kind of intensely. Like they're going back and forth, they're speaking, whatever. And that's when they see some kind of school administrator walk in and start talking with the PE teachers. And they seem to be pointing at the protesters, and the protesters seem to see this, and it's almost like it invigorates some fire within them. So they start chanting louder and doing whatever, right? And, the PE teachers are talking with the administrator, and the PE teachers look like they're pretty upset. Like they're upset with what the administrator is saying. And Kevin points this out. And Kevin's like, look, it's like the PE teachers don't really look that happy right now, bro. Like, Do you think there's actually a chance that we don't do like our physical like that we don't do the push-up test just because these people don't want to, because they don't want to? Like they're protesting it literally just because they don't want to. And real quick, comment push-up down below. Secret word of the day. And also listen on Spotify to these stories. Link down below in the pinned comment to the Spotify. And if you're listening on Spotify, please rate 5 stars. It helps me out. Anyways, so they're all kind of just sitting there like, dude, what's going on right now? And so eventually the two PE teachers are talking with each other. They're talking back and forth. The protesters are getting louder. And that's when the two PE teachers and the school administrator all start walking towards all the kids. So the school administrator is like, silence, silence, like quiet down, quiet down. And, the protesters quiet down for a second. All the other kids were pretty quiet anyways. And the administrator's like, the school administration has heard what you guys have said. We are listening to you. We're allies with what you're doing. And we want to let you know that the push-up test has officially been canceled. So here's the thing, dude. Not even the push-up test has been made optional, which would be, I would understand a little bit more. I still definitely think protesting something just because you don't feel like it is pretty stupid. But at least making it optional, okay. I guess I could understand that a little bit more. But the thing is, dude, she straight up cancels that thing. That's probably why the PE teachers were so mad. I think the school administration's like, all right, if kids are this mad about it, like, we can't risk, actually like hosting an event that people get this upset about, even if like it's stupid. I think that like the PE teachers were probably arguing like, dude, just like make it optional. Like maybe we don't have to force it on everyone, even though we probably should, but whatever. Can we at least keep it optional? I think the school teachers like, we're not risking anything here. So the protesters are all cheering. They're like, yay, whatever. We got what we wanted. And, Kevin turns to his friends. He's like, what? And all the other kids are kind of talking to each other because, look, the kids there, they didn't necessarily want to do the push-up test. No one was like, oh, yeah, like I can't wait to do a bunch of push-ups in front of a bunch of strangers and have them judge me and, et cetera, like that. But at the same time, they also realized that, like, you got to do hard things sometimes, man. So, yeah, PE was actually canceled that day. It was turned into recess, which Kevin's like, bro, what? Like, this is my PE time. Like, what do you mean recess? I'm just going to go sit in the classroom with the friends. Like, I already have time to do that, right? So sure enough, Kevin and his friends go up to like the Gen Z kid afterwards. And the Gen Z kid's like, so how does it feel to be on the losing team? And Kevin and his friends are like, look, yeah, I mean, you got your way in this, but can you not at least see like where this is kind of messed up? And he's like, what? If it was messed up, well, then they would have sided with you. But it turns out that your backwards view of, your backwards way of viewing things is why they sided with me. And Kevin's like, no, like, they're obviously just scared that you guys are going to be, like, so annoying about it that they just canceled the whole thing. And Kevin's like, did you ever think there was possibly some of our preferences to do the push-up test? And in fact, what you're doing now by making it canceled and forced to canceling it is actually discriminating against our preferences. And the Gen Z kid is like, no, impossible. I'm right. You are wrong. Take the L. Default dance. I'm going to go back on Twitter. Whatever. So eventually, Kevin and his friends, they feel a little defeated. Not that they necessarily really liked the push-up test, but, I don't know, man. They were just like, nah. They didn't like what happened. So Kevin and his friends decided that even though the push-up test was not allowed to be administered by the school, that in fact, Kevin and his friends were going to do something about this. This story has a good ending. It doesn't end here. Oh yeah. So anyways, Kevin and his friends start rallying up some of the other kids, right? They start going around. They say, hey man, here's the thing. The push-up test was officially canceled by the school for stupid reasons that we don't agree with. But that doesn't mean the push-up test can't happen. Obviously, the other kids are a little bit confused by this. They're like, dude, what do you mean? The push-up test can't happen right now. And Kevin's like, no. And his friends are like, no. They're like, how about we host the push-up test? We know our scores. We can just be truthful about them. And we'll host a push-up test tomorrow at recess for anyone who wants to do it. And so sure enough, Kevin went around and started telling people that tomorrow at recess, that if they wanted to perform in an unofficial push-up test to see if they improved or just to get their numbers or just to do the push-up test, that they can. And they got, the next day at recess, Kevin and his friends were kind of expecting like, okay, we're asking kids to come in their own free time to voluntarily do push-ups that, they probably didn't want to do in the first place. Kevin and his friends had really low expectations for how this whole thing was going to turn out, right? But what happened was pretty shocking because so many kids showed up. Like, okay, not as many people as the people who would have showed up if it was mandatory, obviously, right? I think that's pretty obvious. But at the end of the day, quite a good handful, right? If there's 100 kids in his class, and 15 of them were the protesters. And Kevin and his friends were like 5. So out of the 80 remaining kids, they talked to about 60 of them. And out of those 60, 30 showed up. 50% of asking people to come out of their free, so 50% of the people who were asked to come out of their free time, to do push-ups, to do something hard, and 30 of them showed up, 50% of them showed up. That's crazy. That's a really good number. So Kevin and his friends were really excited. They were like, all right, let's do it. And so sure enough, they went through and they did, what the push-up test would have been like. Obviously, they were a little bit less strict about it. So if someone's last push-up was a little bit kind of sus or whatever, they would round it up. It was a really great atmosphere. And the Gen Z kid comes over, is like, no, no, no. And he comes over with like 2 of the other protesters. They said, the push-up test is officially canceled. You cannot be doing the push-up test right now. That is unacceptable. And Kevin's like, this is our own private push-up test. We're doing it. We're having fun by ourselves. You don't have to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. This is not discriminating against your preferences. And so the Gen Z kid's like, oh, I don't think so. So the Gen Z kid immediately runs over to get like one of the staff members or something and brings them down. And the Gen Z kid's like, look at them. They're breaking the rules. And so, dude, you're pointing at a bunch of kids just doing push-ups, right? Is that really against the rules, dude? Like, is that really against the rules? And the staff member looks at the Gen Z kid and says, they're not breaking any rules. Like, they're not forcing you to do anything. And the Gen Z kid's like, what? No.